Clicking here.
Right.
Anmol Bhai has joined, it seems.
Am I audible?
Anmol Bhai, you are audible.
Yeah, clear.
1 minute, I need to open the जो मैंने ग्रुप में डाला था ना, सेम वन. Yeah, stop. Is this visible? Is the screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the one letter that I had asked to read. There is more text on this, but this is the title: The Jivatman, Spark Soul and Psychic Being. Jivatman, I had said, is the entity which is not, which does not come down into the manifestation. Spark Soul as the basically the divine nucleus of possibilities, the soul, and psychic being is the developed part. This is what I had said. So I guess everybody has read this. People have read this. Dhaval bhai?
Yeah. I have.
Yogesh ji? Just
Sorry.
an idea,
Yeah.
again, but just asking.
I will. I will read.
नहीं, आपका गला खराब है. I'll just read. Yeah, Yogesh bhai, if you would read, आपका your.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
I think, Anmol, if you could read, I'm outside today.
You're outside. Okay. Okay. So the Jivatman, Spark Soul and Psychic Being. This is from the Letters on Yoga of Sri Aurobindo, Volume 1, CWSA Volume 28. Okay. The Jivatman, Spark Soul and Psychic Being are three different forms of the same reality, and they must not be mixed up together, as that confuses the clearness of the inner experience. Three different forms of the same reality. पहले just इसको एक बार पूरा पढ़ता हूँ, then we'll go through it in detail. So in this iteration, I'm mainly just reading the main text. The Jivatman, Spark Soul and Psychic Being are three different forms of the same reality, and they must not be mixed up together, as that confuses the clearness of the inner experience. The Jivatman or spirit is self-existent, above the manifested or instrumental being. It is superior to birth and death, always the same. It is the individual self or Atman, the eternal true being of the individual. The soul is a spark of the divine in the heart of the living creatures of nature. It is not seated above the manifested being. it enters into the manifestation of the self, consents to be a part of its natural phenomenal becoming, supports its evolution in the world of material nature. It carries with it, at first, an undifferentiated power of the divine consciousness, containing all possibilities, but at first, unevolved possibilities, which have not yet taken form, but to which it is the function of evolution to give form. This spark of divinity is there in all terrestrial living beings, from the earth's highest to its lowest creatures. The psychic being is a spiritual personality put forward by the soul in its evolution. Its growth marks the stage which the spiritual evolution of the individual has reached and its immediate possibilities for the future. It stands behind the mental, the vital, the physical nature, grows by their experiences, carries the consciousness from life to life. It is the psychic person, Chaitya Purusha. At first, it is veiled by the mental, vital, and physical parts, limited by them in its self-expression, by their limitations, bound to the reactions of nature. But as it grows, it becomes capable of coming forward and dominating the mind, life, and body. In the ordinary man, it still depends on them for expression and is not able to take them up and freely use them. The life of the being is animal and human, not divine. When the psychic being can by sadhana become dominant and freely use its instruments, then the impulse towards the divine becomes complete and the transformation of mind, vital, and body, not merely their liberation, becomes possible. As the self or Atman is free and superior to birth and death, the experience of the Jivatman and its unity with the Supreme or Universal Self is sufficient to bring the sense of liberation. But for the transformation of the life and nature, the full awareness and awakening of our psychic being also is indispensable. The psychic being realizes at this stage its oneness with the true being, the self, but it does not disappear or change into it. It remains as its instrument for psychic and spiritual self-expression, a divine manifestation in nature. He is replying to somebody's experience. So the Bindu seen by you above may be a symbolic way of seeing the Jivatman, the individual self as a drop of the sea, an individual portion of the universal divine. The aspiration on that level would naturally be for the opening of the higher consciousness so that the being may dwell there and not in the ignorance. The Jivatman is already one with the divine in reality, but its spiritual demand may be for the rest of the consciousness also to realize it. Just 1 second, just informing on the group that the session has started. The aspiration of the psychic being would then translate this demand entirely for the opening of the whole lower nature, mind, vital, body to the divine, for the love and union with the divine, for its presence and power within the heart, for the transformation of the mind, life, and body by the descent of the higher consciousness into this instrumental being and nature. Both aspirations are necessary for the fullness of this yoga, the demand of the self on the nature from above, the psychic aspiration of the nature from below. When the psychic imposes its aspiration on the mind, vital, and body, then they too aspire, and this is what was felt by you as the aspiration from the level of the lower being. The aspiration felt above is that of the Jivatman for the higher consciousness, with its realization of the one to manifest in all the being. Both aspirations help and are necessary to each other, but the seeking of the lower being is at first intermittent and oppressed by the obscurity and limitations of the ordinary consciousness. It has by sadhana to become clear, constant, strong, and enduring. It then compels realization, makes it inevitable. The sense of peace, purity, and calm felt by you is brought about by a union or strong contact of the lower with the higher consciousness. It cannot be permanent at first, but it can become so. There is a gap here, I'll correct this. But it can become so by an increased frequency and durability of the calm and peace, and finally, by the full descent of the eternal peace and calm and silence of the higher consciousness into the lower nature. 1 second, I'll just see who else has joined. 6, okay. Okay, Ritu Gandhi, is that Ritu Gandhi, RG? RG, is it Ritu Gandhi? Because normally the full name comes. No reply.
It's Ritu Gandhi.
Okay, okay. Normally it comes full name, so I was just confirming. Right. So the Jivatman, spark, soul, and psychic being. We are reading this in the context of the second chapter from verse number 2.11 to approximately 2.30, जहाँ पे he speaks about the Atman and all those things. Okay. So the Jivatman, actually, in order to understand Jivatman, the word Jiva means living. And because the individual self, ki individuality is felt first when we see it as a living thing. That is why for the individual self, for the individual for short, the word that is used in Sanskrit is Jivatman, for short Jiva. Jiva meaning individual, though it means living. I explained why it is called so. Atman के लिए the English word is self, right? Now, actually, मैं जब इसके इंडेक्स वगैरह में जा रहा था, बिफोर यू रीड दिस, तो पहले एक आत्मन का थोड़ा सा, बिकॉज द वर्ड इज देयर इन दिस, सो इट इज गुड टू नो what the Atman, how he has described what is Atman and what is the psychic being. ये तो लेटर मैंने पढ़ने को बोला ही हुआ था, so I was expecting everybody to read this. Just 1 second. This is Letters on Yoga Volume 1. उसका ये index है. This part here, the Atman, soul and psychic being. Okay. It's visible to everybody.
Yes, yes.
So the Atman, the soul and the psychic being. यहाँ पे जीवात्मन की जगह आत्मन वर्ड है because he is talking of the whole thing. Jiva means when the Atman becomes individualized. Okay. So the Atman is one in all, not born, does not evolve or change. The soul is something that comes from the divine into the evolution, and as the psychic being, it evolves and assumes different personalities from life to life as the psychic being. Okay. Now next, to live in the consciousness of the Atman is to live in the calm, unity and peace that is above things and separate from the world, even when pervading it. But for the psychic consciousness, there are two things: the world and itself acting in the world. The Jivatman has not come down into the world. It stands above, always the same, supporting the different beings, mental, etc., which act here. The psychic is what has come down here. Its function is to offer all things to the divine for transformation. Okay. Now, I mean, since, we should begin from the beginning in that sense. Even the word is saying the Atman is one in all, not born, does not evolve or change. This word could be used simply for the divine. Okay. There are some such words in Sanskrit. Atman, Brahman. Brahman, subjectively, it becomes Atman. This is how he explains in the Isha Upanishad. When the Brahman becomes a subject, then it is called Atman. Okay. Other than these two, the words are Ishvara, which means Lord or controller. वो अलग अलग aspects हैं. Just for sake of completeness, I am saying this. Deva, Purusha. These are like, the words. When you want to be absolutely clear that you are talking about the Supreme Self, then you use the word Paramatman. So I have said this earlier. Gita mein, the words that are used for the divine are Paramatman, Purushottama, that is the main word of the Gita, Parameshwara, Param Brahma, Paraha, Purushaha. These are the ones that come to mind right now. Or bhi kuch hoga, to I'll share on the group. Okay. He is here using the word Atman, which means self. The Atman is one in all, not born, does not evolve or change. This word I'm saying again, when he says the Atman is one in all, okay, already he's talking about all. जो divine का वो transcendent status है, in that status, all is contained in it as potential. The multiplicity has not yet manifested. That is the only difference between the word Atman, जैसे यहाँ पे बताया, and the word Paramatman, which is beyond everything, जिसके अंदर सब कुछ self-contained है, but it is perfectly free and all that is there in it in an unmanifested state. Okay. इससे ज्यादा की अभी जरूरत नहीं है. We'll come back to the main letter that we're supposed to read today. अभी तक whatever we have read, is there any question, any doubt or anything? No? Okay, so we are going back to our letter, main one. उसमें बहुत सारा content है. We may even need more than today's session. We'll see how it goes. Okay. This is the one, the Jivatman, spark soul and psychic being. So the Jivatman, spark soul and psychic being are three different forms of the same reality. Three different forms of the same reality. दोनों चीजों को समझना है. सेमनेस भी कैसे है और थ्री कैसे है, डिफरेंस कैसे है. बट एज ऑलवेज, जैसे मैंने पहले भी कहा था, सात्विक ज्ञान अकॉर्डिंग टू द गीता इज दैट विच सीज द वननेस इन थिंग्स. 18th चैप्टर में है, आई कोटेड द श्लोका बिफोर. सर्वभूतेषु येनैकं भावमव्ययमीक्षते अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम्. That knowledge which sees everything as the one, that is the sattvic knowledge, and that is what we are supposed to cultivate all the time until that sense of oneness is fixed in our consciousness. Okay, uska jo detailed and comprehensive multiplicity and all that comes as a second step. First thing that we have to do is to recover that oneness. Okay, this should be clear. The Jivatman, spark soul and psychic being are three different forms of the same reality, and they must not be mixed up together, which is why we are reading this letter, as that confuses the clearness of the inner experience. Okay. Multiple layers of meaning in this, but very simply, these are matters of experience. Right now, we are trying to have an intellectual clarity on the subject. But in order to experience, they are seeing that it confuses the clearness of the inner experience. Right? बट बिना अनुभव के ये बातें, ठीक है, एक इंटेलेक्चुअल क्लैरिटी आती है, बट साधना हैज टू बी डन, एज ही सेड लेटर ऑन इन द लेटर, बाय व्हिच वी कैन रियलाइज दीज थिंग्स, हैव देयर डायरेक्ट एक्सपीरियंस. ओके, सो मच. नेक्स्ट, द जीवात्मन और स्पिरिट इज सेल्फ एग्जिस्टेंट. संस्कृत वर्ड इज स्वयंभू. ठीक है, सेल्फ एग्जिस्टेंट अबव द मैनिफेस्टेड और इंस्ट्रूमेंटल बीइंग. ये जो है संस्कृत में व्हाट इज इट कॉल्ड, व्यक्ति. मैनिफेस्ट के लिए दैट इज द संस्कृत वर्ड. मैनिफेस्टेशन के लिए वर्ड इज अभिव्यक्ति. वो जो कॉन्सोनेंट है, आई एम डेलिबरेटली गोइंग डीपर इनटू संस्कृत, वो और अंदर तक जाएगा, फिक्स हो जाएगा, निकलेगा नहीं फिर. मतलब यू विल नॉट फॉरगेट, वी विल नॉट फॉरगेट. वो मीन्स मैनिफेस्ट एग्जिस्टेंस. द कॉन्सोनेंट वो, it means manifest existence. Volume 14 of Sri Aurobindo's works, page number 602 पे. This knowledge was given to Sri Aurobindo direct by Sri Krishna. It is there in another letter. Sri Krishna is teaching me the origins of human speech. One can easily correlate and understand that this knowledge, at least, Krishna was his guru. It is obvious from his letters and all. Guide थे उनके योगा में. The origins of human speech was given to Sri Aurobindo directly by Sri Krishna himself. 1912 में उन्होंने एक लेटर में लिखा है, अगस्त 1912 के. सो मैनिफेस्टेड, क्लियर हुआ व्यक्ति, और इंस्ट्रूमेंटल बीइंग. ये क्या है? दिस इज द इंस्ट्रूमेंटल बीइंग. दिस वर्ड वी हैव यूज्ड सेवरल टाइम्स इन आवर क्लासेस, दैट वी हैव टू बिकम अ परफेक्ट इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ द डिवाइन. संस्कृत में क्या कहते हैं इसको? कर्ण. इनर इंस्ट्रूमेंट संस्कृत में क्या कहते हैं? अंतःकरण. अंतःकरण में इन द ट्रेडिशनल लैंग्वेज मन, बुद्धि, चित्त, अहंकार. The sense mind, the intellect, buddhi, ahankara, the sense of I-ness, and chitta. Chitta is the recording part. That which records all the impressions, और जहां से वो उठ करके अंदर आते हैं in the, but this is part of the outer consciousness. Sri Aurobindo, outer being, ये उनके letters में clarified है. It's not very deep psychology, Sri Aurobindo ने बताया. But the word that is used is उसमें अंतःकरण is the word. Okay, this is the instrumental being. The body, life energy, and the mind are supposed to be the instruments of the spirit. That is the master. That much. It is
Anmol, just one word. This chit that you talked about, which is the recording, is chit and chetana the same, or they are two separate things?
They are two different things. This is, the full word is not chit actually. It's chitta. I may have mispronounced. My apologies for that.
Chitta.
This chitta.
Right.
Okay. ये जिसमें आता है मन, बुद्धि, चित्त, अहंकार. Sri Aurobindo has not used this. He says this is the old traditional yogic psychology. He has explained what it means and to what part of our being it belongs. But he has created a new system deliberately because a lot of confusion, a lot of connotations had got attached. And to basically he wipe the slate clean, but he has given his own proper system जिसके अंदर उन्होंने बताया it's much deeper, much more complete. ठीक है? तो चित्त means consciousness. So it's basically that pure stuff of consciousness जिसके अंदर ये impressions record होते हैं. That is why it is called chitta. It comes from the same word, but it does not have the same meaning. Chit is far subtler. Chit is pure consciousness. Okay. Chitta is part of the instrumental personality. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry, come again. Chitta is
Part of the instrumental personality. Antah karana, the inner instrument. Whereas
So
jo chit hai, that is pure consciousness, that is divine basically. If you are feeling the chitta, if you are able to recognize the movements of the chitta within you, जहाँ पे सारी वृत्तियां होती हैं, where all the movement happens, it is not the same as feeling the pure consciousness. The pure consciousness is realized in a state
Hello?
of union.
Am I audible? Sorry, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Sorry, I missed it. So chitta is manifested, right?
Chitta is part of the inner instrument, Antah karana.
Chitta is part, and chit is consciousness, right?
Chit nahi, chit, C-H-I-T.
Chit. Okay.
Chit means consciousness.
So that is what Satchidanand wala chit, right?
Correct. The power of consciousness. Unable to join network issue. आवाज आ रही है from somewhere, I don't know where.
Manmol, basically, chit is.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm wondering, chit is the consciousness, and chitta is the antakarana. Am I correct?
Chitta is part of the Antahakarana. In the Antahakarana, there are three other things: Man,
Okay.
Buddhi, and Ahankara. When in yoga we say yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Okay? Yoga is the cessation of the vrittis in the chitta. That chitta is the thing in which your impressions जो भी आप perceive करते हैं वो record होते हैं.
अनमोल भाई कोई बहुत किसका अनम्यूट हो गया है.
I know my Harsh is muted, Yogesh is muted, Swati is muted. Maybe it is GT के side से आ रहा था वो noise. So one person has joined.
Okay.
The one who asked the question, is she there? Yes, she is there. So can you hear me? GT,
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, you are very audible. Clear.
Okay, okay. She's not responding. Matlab, I guess she can't speak because background noise.
No.
Okay, I'll just clarify.
I joined, and now it's okay. All
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chit is pure consciousness. That is part of the divine nature, existence, consciousness, bliss. It belongs to that terminology, that set of words. Chitta is part of the inner instrument. Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. Okay. That is part of the manifested personality. It is the part of the inner instrument. बार बार बोल रहा हूं. The body is the outer instrument. स्थूल शरीर. सूक्ष्म शरीर जो है वो अंतःकरण कहलाता है. It's the inner instrument. ये सब और terms मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएंगे तो confusion होगा. I feel कि जो letter जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं, maybe unless there is some very fundamental question.
No. So just trying to recap. अंतःकरण has 4 parts. मन, बुद्धि, चित्त, अहंकार जो हम लोग ट्रेडिशनल में बोलते हैं, बराबर?
Yes.
And Chit is pure consciousness.
Chit is pure
Satchidanand wala Chit,
Yes,
the part of divine nature.
Correct.
And the Chitta, which is
Chitta is part of the अंतःकरण. आपने जो पहला set बोला था,
अंतःकरण.
is part of that. The 4 of them together is called अंतःकरण. उसमें Chitta is there.
Okay. And that Chitta is not consciousness actually.
No, I mean, pure consciousness is the origin of everything in that sense. Okay.
हाँ, तो ये जो चित्त, जो मन बुद्धि अहंकार वाला चित्त है, दैट इज आउटर इनर कॉन्शियसनेस, जो मैनिफेस्टेड वर्ड,
आप क्यों
मैनिफेस्टेड
मिक्स कर रहे हैं चीजों को? इट्स नॉट कॉन्शियसनेस, द वर्ड फॉर दैट इज इनर इंस्ट्रूमेंट,
इनर इंस्ट्रूमेंट। ओके,
एंड इट इज पार्ट। और उस इनर इंस्ट्रूमेंट में सी अगेन वो पूरा फिर पूरा आपको शुरू से लेकर के वो करना पड़ेगा। राइट नाउ वी आर एक्चुअली फ्रॉम दैट लेवल ऑफ आत्मन एंड ऑल। ये चित्त
ओके,
बहुत
ओके,
बाद में आता है, मेंशन हो
ओके,
गया, सो वी हैव टू मेक सम एफर्ट टू क्लैरिफाई इट। ठीक है,
ओके,
इट विल
ओके,
कम, वी कैन डिस्कस इट सेपरेटली आल्सो।
ओके, ओके।
ओके ओके, चलो। The Jivatman or spirit is self-existent above the manifested or instrumental being. Self-existent, Swayambhu, above. Okay, it is superior to birth and death. Always the same. ये जो गीता के 2.20 में आया था, न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित, it is neither born nor does it die. उस श्लोक के सेकंड पार्ट में इसमें आता है अजो नित्यः अजः, it is unborn. That is the Jivatman.
So in all the slokas of two chapter number 2,
Mostly.
it is
Mostly it is
Jivatman.
the जीवात्मन। नहीं, जैसे वो देहिनोस्मिन यथा देहे कौमारम यौवनम जरा, अब
हाँ,
आप जैसे जीवात्मन बोल रहे हो ना, फर्स्ट
हाँ,
सेंटेंस में क्या लिखा है? 3 डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स ऑफ द सेम रियलिटी। यही जो
हाँ,
जीवात्मन है वही तो सोल बनता है, और फिर वो सोल जो है साइकिक बीइंग के बन करके उसके थ्रू एक्सपीरियंस गैदर करता है। तो दे आर एसेंशियली द सेम थिंग। Can't hear
So
you.
Gita actually does not differentiate, right, between
गीता does not differentiate expressly.
okay,
गीता में जो टर्मिनोलॉजीज है दे आर देही, शरीरी, आत्मा, इस तरह से है। परा प्रकृति जीव भूता, इट इज द परा प्रकृति विच बिकम्स द जीवा, जीवात्मा, जीव। गीता में ये सारी टर्मिनोलॉजीज हैं, सारे संस्कृत के वर्ड्स हैं उस सेंस में। द गीता डज नॉट मेंशन द साइकिक बीइंग एक्सप्लिसिटली।
अच्छा, explicit mention नहीं है।
That
Okay,
is why we are doing this session, to have that clarity.
great. So for the purposes of our essays on the Gita study, we can say Jivatman, Atman, all are equivalent in that sense. But
आत्मन जी नहीं, ऐसे मत करिए, डोंट।
अच्छा,
जीवात्मन आत्मन इक्विवेलेंट, डोंट से इट सो लूजली, वी आर टेकिंग पेन्स टू
हाँ,
आत्मन इज द वन इन ऑल।
correct, okay,
आर यू
yeah,
द वन इन ऑल? नो, यू आर अ
no,
जीवात्मा, you are the one.
correct,
Sorry, you are the all. You are
all,
part of the all.
part of the
Jivatman
all,
means individual self. Atman simply means self, that
self,
is in everything.
correct,
As the Isha says कि सबके अंदर सेल्फ है, सब सेल्फ के अंदर है, और जो कुछ भी है वो सेल्फ ही बन गया है। But that is not the Jivatman. When you realize that, then you have become like that, and then you, जिसको कहते हैं अंतर्यामी बन जाते हैं, and then you know what is inside everybody's, or if you wish to know, you can know.
So that is the 3-point formula which you just mentioned. All is self, all is in self, and self is all.
इसका भी step by step होता है।
हाँ,
So first is that the self is everything, highest point पे, ठीक है?
self is all.
Second is उसको कहते हैं कि everything is in the self.
Everything is in
And
self.
third is the self is in everything.
Correct.
This is the process.
This is the process. This is the
Life divine
formula.
में this is what is called the triple status of the supermind.
In Life Divine, I have come across this. Correct.
And just for completeness sake, this is what leads to the origin of the 3 great philosophies. India में the self as all leads to Advaita. The everything in the self leads to the philosophy of Ramanujacharya, Vishishta Advaita, and the self is in everything, that leads to the philosophy of Madhvacharya, Dvait.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. I see. So all 3 have experienced very differently the things, the different aspect, but not all the 3 in one shot.
Yeah. In the reverse process, that's why Sri Aurobindo says, first find the self within you. That's first discover the divine within you. तो जिस ऑर्डर में वो बना है naturally, उसके रिवर्स ऑर्डर में should be the natural order of the discovery of that thing.
Correct. Last in, first out.
Exactly. Last in, first out. All this is mental again, we last first वैसे
नहीं बराबर है,
पर
correct.
Intellectual clarity, yes, correct.
तो ही हम आगे, ये फर्स्ट स्टेप है ना, तो ये अगर नहीं क्लियर होगा तो क्या क्लियर, आगे क्या करेंगे?
Correct. So far we are okay. 8:40. Okay. So the Jivatman or spirit is self-existent above the manifested or instrumental being. It is superior to birth and death, always the same. Always the same के लिए भी एक संस्कृत वर्ड था उसमें, निर्विकारा is one word. वो गीता के उस श्लोक में नहीं था. There was one word for always the same. अव्ययम, imperishable होता है. It does not change basically. अक्षरम. Aksharam is a one word, one proper word. Akshara means
अचिंत्योयम.
नहीं. Achintya means unthinkable.
Unthinkable. हाँ, बराबर.
It does not mean unchangeable.
हाँ, right.
I don't have a copy of the Gita handy right now. आसपास नहीं है. वो है word. I'll paste that word. उसकी वजह से अटकते नहीं है. It is there somewhere.
Okay.
नैनम चिंदंती के बाद वाला जो श्लोक है शायद उसमें है. उसके बाद के बाद वाला.
अनाश नीनो.
नहीं. Doesn't matter. बहुत ज़्यादा.
Okay.
Fixate नहीं करना. I'll paste that word.
Yeah, let's continue.
हाँ, let's continue. ठीक है. It is the individual self or Atman. ठीक है. That is what who we are. ध्यान दीजिए. The eternal true being of the individual. It is the true being of us. It is eternal. हमारी वास्तविकता वो है. संस्कृत में उसे क्या कहते हैं? जीवात्मन. For short, जीवा.
Correct.
Okay. Just 1 second. I need to switch on the fan. Just 1 second. Yeah. The eternal true being of the individual. सनातन वर्ड जो उसमें आया था 2.20 में, बाद में भी आया था. That is the Sanskrit word for eternal. There are others, नित्य, चिरंतन, शाश्वत. ठीक है. बट यहाँ पे जो मैं फिक्सेट कर रहा हूं अभी, true being of the individual, that is our true being. So what is our truth? We are superior to birth and death. That is what the Gita was saying over there.
That is what is meant by immortality.
Natvam shochitum arhasi. You should not grieve, because the truth is, again I'm fixating on the word truth, taking it from this letter. The truth is that you are above birth and death. There was never a time when you were not there. There will never be a time when you will not be there. न जाए, उसमें जो है, नत्वेवाहम जातुनासम नत्वम नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयम अतः परम. 2.12. ठीक है. And then 2.20, न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Correct. So that is what it says, for by immortality is meant not survival of death. That is already given to every creature born with mind,
Very well.
but transcendence of life and death.
Very well connected. That is what we had read last time, this text. So by immortality is not meant this. वो तो हम हैं ही हैं. वो तो there's nothing which can take away. तो eternal truth है. That cannot be changed. Right? Next. अब अभी तक उन्होंने क्या बताया है? जीवात्मन. गीता का जो हमने 15.7 कोट किया था, ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः. उसमें जीवात्मन वर्ड नहीं है, छोटा है, जीव है केवल, बट द आत्मन इज इंप्लाइड. सो व्हाट डज इट से? ममैवांशो, मेरा ही अंश. मम मीन्स मेरा, एव मीन्स इंडीड, अंश मीन्स पोर्शन. अगेन व्हेन यू से पोर्शन, डोंट थिंक दैट जो रियलिटी है वो डिविजिबल है. यू आर अ पोर्शन इन द सेंस कि वो जो डिवाइन की ओमनीपोटेंस है उसमें से कुछ पोटेंशियलिटी आपके अंदर है. इन दैट सेंस यू आर अ पोर्शन.
Yeah. And Anmol Bhai, so the second paragraph means वो गीता का 15th chapter जो अभी आपने बोला, that exactly corresponds to that, right?
That's why I'm
Jivabhuta Sanatana, right? Because superior to birth and death, that means Sanatana.
And it becomes the Jiva. Jiva Bhuta. in this world of jivas. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatanah. I know it's 15.7, बहुत दूर में है, but it is one of the most important shlokas of the Gita. That's why I've been anticipating it and saying it in practically every class. Okay. Next, the soul is a spark of the divine in the heart of the living creatures of nature. It is not seated above the manifested being. When he says the word spark, ठीक है, spark किसका होता है? चिंगारी, अग्नि की होती है. तो यहाँ पे डिवाइन को अग्नि मान के चल रहे हैं. फिर मैं याद दिला रहा हूं, बिकॉज ये गलती अक्सर होती है. ठीक है, डिविजिबल पोर्शन, ये वो.
So Anmol bhai, one
बोलिए.
A question. The soul is a spark of divine. In Gita, there is also one more verse which says Aham Atma Gudakesha. Does it mean this line? Aham Atma Gudakesha?
It means this line because it is translated as 10.20 है what you are referring to. Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Shayastitah.
हाँ, Aham Adishcha Madhyam cha.
वो Gudakesha, वहां पे वो अपनी विभूतिज बता रहे हैं कि how he is there. He begins with this. अहम आत्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूता शयस्थितः अहम आदिश्च मध्यम च भूतानाम अंत एव च. But there what he is referring to is the entity in the heart, inside you. अहम आत्मा, मैं आत्मा रूप से हे गुडाकेश, मैं आत्मा रूप से अहम आत्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूता शयस्थितः, मैं सारे भूतों के अंदर स्थित हूं. So when he is talking of सर्वभूता here, he is meaning you and me, कि वो हमारे अंदर स्थित हैं. ईश्वर भूतानाम हृदय अर्जुन तिष्ठति, वहां पे तिष्ठति रूप है, यहाँ पे स्थित रूप है, सेम धातु स्था, but it means the divine in us.
हाँ, so Anmol bhai, here also Sri Aurobindo is talking in the heart, no?
Correct. The soul is the spark of the divine in the heart of the living creatures of nature.
हाँ, समझ गए.
वो आत्मा रूप से स्थित है. You are correct. इसको हम ऐसे बोल सकते हैं. But actually वही ना, थोड़ा सा फिर वही कि वो आत्मा when he is saying, ठीक है, पे सूक्ष्म चीज है, इसलिए gather all your powers of concentration. If simply he is using the word atma, okay, without any qualification.
Correct. Understood. Here Sri Aurobindo has made it very clear.
I might say, it's a good occasion to say this. Vibhuti Yoga chapter mein, he is listing the powers of the divine, the special manifestations of the divine, and all of them are portions and powers and aspects of the divine. So you say that वहां पे जो बोल रहे हैं वो जीवात्मा ही बोल रहे हैं, जीवात्मा in that sense. But उस जीवात्मा का ये soul वाला form, the soul is spark of the divine in the heart of the living creatures of nature. ये हृद वाला जो है वो गीता में, to my memory right now, दो जगह आता है, एक 15.15 में और एक 18.61 में.
So Anmol, the three poises that you started by saying about 10 minutes back, this poise of the Lord within all,
the third one,
the spark.
It is inside everybody.
Inside everybody. And the one which is the Jivatman, which is above the of everything within the Lord. The second poise that you talked about, where everything is in him.
Sorry, say again.
You mentioned three poises, right? You said the Lord in all in the Lord, right?
All in the Lord. Atman, that is what the word that is used in the...
Correct. So all in the Lord is Atman. And the Lord in all is the spark. Are we right in saying that?
Wait a minute, 1 minute. See, again, if you use the word Lord, and
you talk about the three states